Good morning, students. Hope you all have seen Chapter 5 The Snake and the Mirror, Part 1. In Part 1, we discussed about the story which was narrated by Doctor who was homeopathic doctor and he was not earning so much. He used to live in a small room and which was not proper ventilated, and he was also a bachelor, unmarried. And then he sits on a chair and he was narrating his story how the snake coiled him. Moving ahead, now we'll read further. I didn't jump. I didn't tremble. I didn't cry out. There was no time to do any such thing. See what he was not panic. He was not in the panic, nor he jump or tremble, and he did not shiver also, and he did not scream. It happened so fast, so that he could not have any time to react. The snake slithered along my shoulder and coiled around my left arm above the elbow. Slithered means twisting and crawling motion of the snake. The snake moved in such a way that it wrapped itself on the doctor's left arm like a coil. See, the hood was spread out and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. See what he was sitting in such a position that 3 or 4 inches only the snake was away from his face, and that would mostly slide. The snake would have bitten him if he would have moved. It would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. I was turned to stone, but my mind was very active. See what the doctor say over here, that he was not holding only his breath, but also he turned into a stone like a statue. He was sitting and like a statue. And although physically he was still like a statue, but his mind was actively, and he was thinking what should he do next. The door opened into darkness. In the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flesh. See what happened when there was a darkness all around, and there was darkness inside and outside the room also, and there was only single light, that the light which was from the lamp, and in that light he was sitting like a statue. I felt then the great presence of the creator of this world and this universe. God was there. See, as he was in the trouble, he started feeling the presence of God, and he was not able to do anything. So he started thinking of God. See, when we are in any trouble, we always think of God first. So, in the same way, he was also thinking of God and he was praying to God. Suppose I said something and he did not like it, and I tried in my imagination to write in bright letters outside my little heart the words, "Oh God." See what happened. He decided not to speak lest. See, he was in the trouble also, and he was in the presence of God, and he was thinking of an imagination in the bright letter that outside my little heart the word, "Oh God." And he decided not to speak lest he should anger the snake. In his heart, the doctor was praying to God to save his life. See, there was some pain in his left arm, and it was if a thick leaden rod, and a rod made of molten fire was slowly put powerfully crushing his arm. It was crushing his arm, and the arm was beginning to be drained, and all the strength. What could I do? See, as the snake has coiled and it wrapped around his arm, it was experiencing a lot of pain. He was feeling pain, and he was feeling a thick molten rock, and that made a lead which was crushing his arm, and it was breaking also it, and he felt helpless. He could not do anything to save himself. At my slightest movement, the snake would strike me. Death lurked 4 inches away. Strike means to attack, and lurk means to hit. See, he knew that if he moved a bit, if he will move little a bit, the snake would attack him. Death was very near. and he was sitting at a distance of only 4 inches. Suppose it struck. What was the medicine I had to take? There were no medicines in the room. I was but a poor, foolish, and stupid doctor. I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. Feebly means weakly. See what he thought, that if the snake bites him, then what he will do, which medicine will he take, and he would recall all that things, and there was no medicine in his room also. He felt that he was very poor, foolish, and stupid doctor, and he was feeling very weak also. He was not having any way to come out of this situation, and he smiled at his foolishness. It seemed as if God appreciated that. The snake turned its head. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. See what happened? The doctor felt that God appreciated the doctor's realization of his mistake. See, sometimes favorable happened and the doctor's life was saved. The snake moved its head. See what happened? In the same moment, the snake moved its head to the other side, and he saw in the mirror, and it looked at the mirror, and it was its own reflection that a snake could see. I don't claim that it was the first snake that had ever looked into a mirror, but it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. See, it is not possible that the snake had never looked at itself in the mirror before. See, but yes, the snake was looking at itself in the mirror, and the doctor was surprised. Why? Because the snake was looking itself in the mirror very carefully. Was it admiring its own beauty? See what he was thinking, that he might be admiring its own beauty. Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache or using eyeshadow and mascara or wearing a vermilion spot on his forehead? Vermilion spot means what? A red bindi on his forehead. The doctor imagines that the snake must be imagining different style, like he was thinking few minutes back that he was looking his face in the mirror, and he thought what he thought, that the snake was thinking to grow a mustache, or maybe he might be wearing an eyeshadow, that he might be wearing the eyeshadow and mascara to look more pretty, or maybe he might be trying to wearing a red colored bindi on its forehead. I didn't know anything for certain what sex was. This snake, was it male or female? I will never know, for the snake unwound itself from my arm, slowly slithered into my lap. From there, it crept onto the table and moved towards the mirror. Perhaps it wanted to enjoy its reflection at closer quarters. See, closer quarter means to come closer look. See, the doctor did not know whether he was a male or a female snake, and he says that he never come to know this. Why? Because just then he crawled down his arms and moved down onto his lap, and there it jumped and started crawling on the table, and it crawled very close to the mirror, and it was looking inside itself in the mirror. And the doctor thought that maybe snake wanted to look at itself and have a closer look. I was no mere image cut in granite. I was suddenly a man of flesh and blood. See, the doctor was no longer a mere statue, he was not made of stone. As soon as the snake crawled and got down from him, he came back to his life. Still holding my breath, I got up from the chair. I quietly went out through the door into the veranda. From there, I leapt into the yard and ran for all I was worth. See, I was worth means all the strength that I had. As the snake had crawled out the doctor's lap, it came out, and now what happened? He stopped his breath because he was scared of the snake, and he quietly moved out the door and jumped from the garden and ran away over there. Phew, each of us heaved a sigh of relief. Somebody asked, Doctor, is your wife very fat? All the people were listening to the doctor's story and they got relief, and they took a deep breath after they could come to know that he was saved. And someone from the group asked, Doctor, is your wife fat? No, the doctor said, God wild, otherwise my life companion is a thin, reedy person with the gift of a sprinter. See, that means what? He replied that his wife was thin and tall, just like a reed plant, because God didn't want his wife to be fat. So she was thin and could run very fast. Someone else asked, Doctor, when you ran, did the snake follow you? Another person from the group, they were sitting, who was listening the story, they asked him whether the snake chased him, ran behind him, or might have followed him. The doctor replied, I ran and ran till I reached a friend's house. Immediately I smeared covered means oil all over myself and took a bath. I changed into fresh clothes. See what he replied, that he ran and ran till where, when he reached to his friend's house, and there he took an oil massage and he took a bath and wore a fresh clothes. See, he did not know if the snake had chased him or not, because he did not look behind also. The next morning at about 8:30, I took my friend and one or two others to my room to move my things from there, but we found we had little to carry. See, little to carry means his belongings were stolen and there was nothing much left to carry away. See, next day what happened, around 8:30 in the morning, the doctor along with his two or three friends, they went to the room and to bring his belongings from there. See what they saw, there was not much stuffs to take. Some thief had removed most of my things. See, the room had been cleaned out, but not really. The thief had left behind one thing as a final insult. What was that? I asked. The doctor said, my vest, the dirty one. The fellow had such a sense of cleanliness. The rascal could have taken it and used it after washing it with soap and water. See, rascal means a mischievous or cheeky person, especially a man, a naughty person. Someone has, what he says over here, that someone has stolen most of the things from the room and there was nothing left, and he thought that the thing which is left behind was just like an insult to him. See that what the doctor says, that the thing that the thief left over there was his vest, which was very dirty and was hanging on the wall. So he added that the thief might be very clean, that he has left the dirty vest there only. He says that naughty thief could have taken it along with him and he would have washed it and soap and could have used it. Did you see the snake the next day, doctor? See, someone asked the doctor if he has saw the snake the next day also. The doctor laughed that I have never seen it since. It was a snake which was taken with its own beauty. See, he laughed and replied that after that night he never saw that snake. Maybe the snake was attracted towards its own beauty, and that is why he was looking very carefully inside the mirror. See, hope you all have understood this chapter. Thank you.